special meeting of the Board of Commissioners, Wednesday, January 19th, 2025, to order. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to remain standing for a moment of silence. Bill Piper's grandson had a serious accident down in Virginia at a musical park. So if you could say a little extra prayer for Kay would be appreciated.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Walker.
Here.
Commissioner Wall.
Here.
Commissioner Algieri.
Here.
Commissioner Tama.
Here.
Commissioner Poyer.
Here.
President Rocket.
Present. There was no executive session. We'll start this evening with public comment. Patty Hoffman.
Patty Hoffman, 408 Compensation Grant. Obviously, since this is Ward 3, I had a question about whether or not we vetted where the people that all put in applications and they all are actually living in Ward 3, and that's not going to be an issue that we have to do something else. So Matt did that, right?
Yes, we're all good.
And,
It's a great point.
well, we don't know. And since we don't know who any of these people are, I didn't get my right to know back. But what was the criteria in choosing who we are going to appoint tonight for the 2-year term?
Just so that you're aware, there is no specific criteria other than what you need to be elected as a commissioner. So I can't say individually what these gentlemen found to be necessary and what they chose to look at. That would be an individual choice. I'm assuming it's based on who they feel would be a good asset. I think all of the candidates from the ones that I saw were highly qualified, fine individuals who each and every one of them I think would do a fine job here. So I'm sure that the differences between someone choosing and not choosing someone is a hairline thin, and I can't tell you specifically what that is. I'm not a voting member. And I don't know that these guys can actually verbalize other than to say, I'll leave it up to them, but I assume it just has to do with, really that splitting of hairs of who they feel will help advance this township in the best way it can.
Did anybody check with the people of Ward 3, like to send out anything to them and say, hey, you're going to have a new commissioner in Ward 3, and here's some of your candidates.
Yes.
Do you know
That's
how you feel about
highly
it?
unlikely, and
Okay.
honestly, in doing this as long as I've had many boards do vacancy appointments. It would be unusual to do something like that.
Well, this has been an unusual year.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I understand. It's been an unusual couple of years.
Yes. Okay, well, that was my questions. Thank you.
I can answer on my behalf on what I did. I personally contacted every single one of them, and we had a give and take on a questionnaire on different facets. And I'm not going to go into detail what our personal discussions were, but it was at length with each one of them. So that just to give you let you know that I did do that process of contacting each of them and doing an interview one-on-one with them.
Oh, thank you for the answer.
Before we get into the process, and I do want to thank the individuals who applied for this position. I think it speaks volumes to the individuals' commitment to the community and their willingness to step up and be part and take part in the community. So I do want to thank them. We did have one person withdraw. Mr. Cialone withdrew his. But before we start, I want to have the public be understanding, because this is not, as Patty said, not a normal situation. I'd like to have our solicitor discuss with before we begin our process to explain how this will work this evening.
So this evening we'll have a two-part process. The first will be a motion to open nominations. At that point, any commissioner can just voice out any name of any individual that they feel should be nominated for the position of the vacancy. And that does not require a second. So whoever puts that name in, once that person's name is stated, they will be nominated for the position. We will go next, once everybody has said all of the nominations, the president will close nominations himself. There will not be a vote on that, a motion on that. He will just say, is there anybody else? And at the point where nobody else is being nominated, he will say nominations are closed. Then we will move into the second part, which will be the actual motion to appoint. That motion to appoint will go in the order of the names in which they are nominated. We will go through each until any candidate, whether it be the first, second, third, fourth, or so on, till that candidate receives a majority vote. Once the majority vote, which is a 4-person vote, once that is obtained, then the motions are done, and then the motion will be concluded, and that person will be appointed and be able to take the seat. And at that point, we will adjourn the meeting. That'll be the process. Any questions on the process?
Any questions from any commissioner? Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion, or I'd like to, obviously call for anyone from the floor for, motion.
I'd like to make a motion, Tom, that's
No,
not.
well, you're going to do, this is a motion to open nominations first.
I'll make a motion to open the nomination.
Second on that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to, okay, since nominations are open, we have someone to make a motion, please.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to, for Denny Campus for, commissioner.
Next campus. Any other nominations?
Thomas Nestad.
Thomas Nesta. Any other nominations?
Walter Butch Anthony.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Actually, Robert will get 3 times. I'll say once more. Any other nominations? Hearing none, I close nominations. Okay, we have a motion, and we'll start with, the first one, correct? Correct. Motion to appoint Dennis Campus as the Elizabeth Township Commissioner for Voting Ward 3 for the term expiring January 2nd, 2024. Roll call, please. Yes?
Pass.
Commissioner Locke.
Yeah.
You didn't say it, no.
Pass.
Commissioner Walls.
Yes.
Commissioner Legere.
Yes.
Commissioner Toma. Pass. Commissioner Boyd.
Yes.
President Locke.
I'm going to refer to the first pass, please, before I vote. Chair votes last.
So my understanding then, that's a majority vote, so this is, Dennis is the appointed.
No, I'm the chair.
The chair.
I vote aye.
Oh, I see, okay. I'm gonna keep with my pass.
Well, you have to vote, yeah, you're going to have to vote.
In the affirmative for the negatives.
Yes.
Mr. Toma.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. So that, Dennis Campus is appointed. Correct?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Adjourn. Thank you. Mr. Campus, congratulations.